It's 12 p.m. and it's a Zoom meeting. So I'll ask for an approval of the agenda.
Powell or Mato?
Seconder? Seconder?
Andrew McLean.
Okay. All those in, any questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion. Oh, there we go. Motion carried. Thank you. Any disclosures, guys? No disclosures? Yeah, so we'll move right into item 4 on the meeting is the 2025 scheduling. I don't know, Brent usually has this stuff worked out pretty good, but I'd suggest we look at January to get the RCMP in and going over probably their last quarter or their last 2 quarters. I haven't heard from them for a while.
Yeah, we can certainly do that, Mr. Chair. You know, that was I put in a sort of a rough template for us, really for discussion purposes. So, yeah, I mean, we can do that certainly. It was a bit of a departure, as you may be aware, the RCMP have been struggling to get their quarterly reports into us on schedule. My understanding is there was a contractor that was doing that work for them, and there was a change in the service provider, and as a result, they've been off track. But yeah, I mean, we absolutely could have them come in and do we could do a fairly brief meeting with the forum and get them to present those 2 reports that we've just received, which is Q1, Q2. Not sure if it came up before I joined today, but we just received them, I believe, Kelly, last night at supper time, correct? Yeah. So nothing like last minute changes when you're putting together a full year schedule. But anyway, so yeah, we just received them last night. We could certainly reach out to them and try to organize something in early January. Typically we do, first Thursday of the month. So I believe, I just want to double check. I'm looking at my calendar as I speak, but I believe that may be the 2nd of January. So hopefully that should work, but everybody will be back from vacation at that point.
And if not, I mean, we can move it on to February. Like I said, January 2nd is early. People are just getting back, trying to get things caught up from over Christmas, New Year. So I don't know. What do you guys think? January 2nd might be a little too early.
That's a Thursday.
Mhm.
Okay. The 1st is a Wednesday.
I think it would be aggressive to do it on New Year's Day.
Definitely.
It can be completely at the discretion of the committee members, whether we reach out to them and try to arrange something on that, or if we wait until February 5th. One idea that I was going to float to the committee was that in the interim, we can certainly distribute the Q1, Q2 reports to the forum members, and then schedule the RCMP presentation at a later date.
Yeah, makes
I
good
like
sense.
that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
So
been talking to Harry, haven't you, as far as the Firefighters Association?
yeah, I was talking to Harry. He's excited to come in and speak about the work they do and sort of the structure. As you know, that was an issue that was raised during the reform process. But you know, a lot of the newly formed municipalities have multiple fire departments, and Harry is very well positioned to speak about how they all work together and provide some detail and some insight into how those the various departments are currently working together. So Harry's excited to do it. Beyond that, I mean, after having the Capital District Firefighters Association in very quickly. I mean, we're into the priority session with the RCMP. As the committee members know, that's a standalone meeting. Typically takes an hour to 2 hours to complete. Then we thought it may be wise in October to I know it's been raised a number of times to have Department of Justice and Public Safety and to speak about off-road safety, give us a presentation on that and provide an opportunity for Q&A. November, we thought we'd put in justice and public safety in general as a for a Q&A session. You know, they did give us a presentation. Obviously, they've got a huge number of responsibilities, pretty varied, all the way from coroner's office to EMO. And thought it might be, the logic there was that it might be an opportunity for them to answer some questions. You know, at that point, we've got a new government in. There will have been an opportunity to interact with the newly elected members and maybe a chance to ask some questions to the department on whether priorities have changed. What their focus is going forward, opportunity to just check in with them, I guess, post-election. And beyond that, that brings us right back full circle to December for another scheduling meeting.
There's the year in a nutshell, just like that.
Yeah, snap your fingers, and that's it. So I guess I'd be interested in the feedback from the committee on what we've put together here. Nothing's written in stone. We can make changes. It's completely at the discretion of the committee members.
It's certainly good to have a guide, though. Like I said, it's not engraved in stone. We can always change it, but at least once we have it written down, we kind of know where we're going. So. Anybody have any other ideas? Any issues with any of those items on the schedule, or?
On the Wednesdays, what time would the Wednesdays meetings be?
Usually 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's 6 p.m.
Oh, 6, perfect. No, because during the day on Wednesdays, that's one of my on Wednesdays is my busiest day. So the 6 o'clock is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still going to have the public safety meetings at noon the following day.
On the Thursday, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fits great for me.
That's worked out good this year, but I don't think anybody missed any meetings. So
No.
not that I can remember anyway. It's seemed to be a pretty good schedule. Everybody was available for the most part.
Yep.
So I recall, Mr. Chair, it was tight finding that slot where it worked for everybody. So yeah, I mean, if it works, let's stick with it. The other thing I'd point out to the committee members is different from last year. This year we've got a limited but a budget for professional services. So if there is an item that the committee wishes to dive into a little deeper with a consultant, perhaps we do have those resources on hand. So again, if there's something that piques our interest, we are resourced to pursue something if the committee wishes.
Anybody ever think of having a touching base with NB Power? I mean, they do certainly do have a lot of safety in their work, and they deal with the public quite a bit. You know, when they're setting up in areas and whatnot, they usually have a bunch around trying to make sure to keep a safe distance from their equipment that are operating, things like that. Yeah, it might be something of interest.
Mr. Chair, on that point, I believe NB Power had a session scheduled for last week, and it was interrupted, ironically, with a snowfall event. But it was scheduled for towards the end of last week. I think it was on Friday. So I mean, that's something that we could I'm sure we could extend the invitation certainly to the committee members as a starting point. And yeah, absolutely. There would be some value in that, in having them attend and give us a presentation on contingency plans, I guess, in case of outages from severe weather events.
Any other ideas? Quiet bunch, too many Christmas parties going on. Yeah, Bob had a big spread on last night down at Armagh. Certainly a good turnout.
I saw pictures of that, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I saw Judy was there as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that on Facebook. So you guys
Must have been Mary Wilson that did that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great turnout.
Yeah, certainly a busy time of year.
Yeah, I didn't get out of there until something at 9, but yeah.
Yeah, you were busy.
So, Mr. Chair, if we did reach out to NB Power, and we certainly can do that, what would be your preference as to where we would put them in? I mean, we're a little limited on in February. You know, Harry is going to have a pretty in-depth presentation ready, I expect, for the Capital District Firefighters Association. Then obviously in April we've got the priority session plus a Q3 update from RCMP. It's just a question of where we would put it. I mean, we could add an additional meeting in May.
Yep.
Perhaps, if that's
Better to
something.
get them in the summertime because no guarantees they could even show up. Some if they have an emergency or a big storm in the wintertime, which is more apt to happen, then if we had an evening session with them for the forum, there's a possibility they couldn't make it. So getting in towards the the summer months would probably be better for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we certainly what we could do if the committee agrees. I mean, we could reach out to them and try to schedule a session for. Let me see. In May, the first Thursday falls on the first, but if we did a Wednesday, Thursday in May, as we normally do with the forum, and then the committee itself, it would fall on May 7th and May 8th.
Yeah, that gives us lots of time to reach out.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can do that. We can make that change, and yeah, I agree with you. I think there'd be some value in that.
Yep. Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to the, if I may, through you to the others, you may want to broaden the scope, or just ask them to talk about not just their storm response and things like that, but they have a suite of safety features. In some communities, they're piloting cameras and things like that. So it might just be good to get a kind of a broader swath. Like, yes, the storms and responses and things like that are important, but they do have a little wider reach than sometimes we often think of them. We just normally think of getting the lights back on, the heat back on, and that type of thing. But they do have a suite of safety features there that they may want to present on. So.
Interesting, because you said that I'm familiar with their cameras. Or I don't know if it's through them or through a contractor through them using their poles. They put cameras on top of their poles for parking lots and stuff like that in buildings. And also they have they do a rental of what's it called? That's not a Generac, but it's a something hooked up to your meter.
Genelink.
Genelink, yeah. And that's something they have control over. Their prices for renting them are not cheap, but it's another thing they have, which is a good option for when the power's out if you want to hook up a generator.
Yeah. And then we could discuss the trees overhanging the power lines, and they used to have crews cutting them, and lately they haven't, and there seems to be some issues, and what else would be? And they could talk about maybe copper wire thefts if they're involved in that too, if it's lightening up any with NB Power.
Good point. Yeah, Mr. Chair, we'll follow up on all those items.
Okay,
and
great.
we'll see if we can get a pretty fulsome presentation, trying to touch on as many public safety related issues as we can.
And if there's anything, this, like, again, the schedule's not cut in stone. If there's anything that comes up that people might think would be a good idea to get information on, to take back to councils and things like that, I mean, bring it forward.
Yeah.
We will do that.
Okay, under item 5, we pretty well beat the general discussion to death. What about directions of staff? Where do we go from here? Basically, it's a kind of a cut and paste from last year. So Kelly always keeps us in line.
I would, Mr. Chair, the only thing that I've thought of that's outside of the scope of this, of the discussion we've already had is, emergency management plans. You know, we have had some discussion informally with some of the members that sit around our table at the RSC. A lot of municipalities already have these in place, and I only say this just for thought. It's something that the committee members can think about for a while, but you know, potentially this year, I mean, that would be one possible use of our professional services fund would be to come up with a template for all of the previously existing municipalities, but as well as some of the newly amalgamated municipalities, and develop that template for an emergency management plan going forward, so they could plug it in. There were some questions. What came up recently was specifically Mayor, I believe it was Mayor Hayward, John had reached out to us and was concerned about what his community would do in the event of potentially a fire, for example, at the landfill, because they're adjacent to the landfill facility that we operate. So that did raise the question, you know, whether they have an emergency management plan. I know typically the RSC and our various divisions, we do have those plans in case of wildfire, that kind of a thing. Mayor Powell, I know your community was impacted. We had a major fire at that facility in say 2005 on Labor Day, and it impacted the hospital, for example, in Oromocto. It's something I just put that out there for the consideration of the committee, that at some point through the year, if that's something that we're interested in pursuing, that would be one possible use for those professional funds that we've set aside.
Yeah.
I know they're also doing a similar thing in Western Valley. In my discussions with their staff that look after public safety. So if somebody has a good idea, I'm not too proud to steal it, and that's what I've done here.
Good work.
There's a wheel out there, we might as well grab it, so why not?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it gives a good chance for some of the communities to update theirs and double check what they have and what's changed since they last did their plan. So, yeah,
that's right. And the plans, no doubt, will need updating. You know, with as your you know, as the geographical area that you're governing is you know, doubles or triples overnight. Obviously that has different implications. And I know in particular in Western Valley, where there are a lot of fairly rural municipalities, it comes down to some things like egress. So you know, some of these municipalities may only be accessible by one road.
yeah.
So what do you do in those cases if there's a wildfire? So those are all new issues that probably, you know, they may not have been looked at as closely in the pre-reform world.
Yeah.
Yeah, good example of that is Charter Settlement. Got a big area back there there's only one way in and one way out. So it's a fire down there could be a real disaster. Yeah, John, while we're here, just to talk about committees in general, like we've got roughly a year and a half left in all our municipal folks' mandate. What are we going to do with committee structuring between now and the May of 2026?
Mr. Chair, all of our committees are due for a refresh in April of 2025. So that'll be the 2-year, all appointments are for 2 years. So at that point in time, we'll be bringing that forward to the chair and the vice chair, and looking at the membership within the committee portfolio. Yeah,
again, this is an odd year. This is our second 5-year term, and hopefully in 2026 we'll get back to 4-year terms. But might be the best way to do is just have the chair look at extending all the committees for the year 2025, 26. It's a possibility anyway, rather than get all these committees in there for a year.
Yeah,
something to think about.
Well, certainly something we'll take under advisement, Mr. Chair, and I know Don oversees our governance piece on that. I don't know, Don, if you have anything to say on that.
I do. This year, the review of our governance procedures and processes will be a little more rigorous than it has been in the past. We've mentioned before, we're 2 years into reform. We have kind of identified the things that could be optimized in our existing structure, and there's some new things that come along. So committee terms is certainly something that the committee will discuss and bring forward to the board. I believe that at the current time, if we were to extend for a year, it would be something that would require a motion of the board. But that's relatively easy to do if the board's of that mind.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that over the last little while of what we're actually going to do. It'd be a big shakeup for a year, and is it worth the effort, or just continue on going? So, yeah, like I said, see what the board says.
I would just like to point out that Director Morrison is on the governance committee as well.
Yes.
So that a
Might
motion.
give us an indication of, some of the views on the committee.
Yeah, we'll see what we can move along.
So a motion may be forthcoming.
Yes, I think so. Okay.
I think that would be the best way to proceed, really. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get a recommendation from governance committee onto the directors, most of the time they buy into it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. If there's nothing else, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Bob Powell or Mocto.
All right. So meeting adjourned at 12:22. You guys, everybody, I wish everybody certainly a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We probably won't see this committee again until 2025. It's amazing where 2024 went. So I hope everybody has a great holiday season and enjoy themselves and have lots of parties and lots of merriment and have a great end of year.
I know.
Same to you.
You as well, Mr.
We'll revise that schedule and we'll distribute to the committee members as well once we've got that change in May with MB Power plugged in.
Okay. Great, Brent. That'll be fantastic.
All righty.
Well, thanks, everyone. It's been a great year.
I'll get back to